Let's bring in our legal eagles. Still with me in the studio, attorney Randy Kessler, and joining us remotely, attorney Joe Tamburino. Okay, Randy, let me start with you. You're licensed to practice in the state of Georgia. You've had cases in Sumter County where this one is going on. And tell me, the decision not to testify, it's a big one. Do you think she made the right one here?
So I think you nailed it in your opening statement, which is, if you're going to testify, she's got to own it, right? She's got to explain that away. Yes, I said these horrible things. We all think horrific things once in a while. We have bad dreams. I want to kill my parents. I want to do something. But I would never do that. The problem is none of us know how she would have appeared. Only her lawyer got to practice with her. And that lawyer has to make a judgment call and say, I don't believe you. You're not persuasive enough. You'll get ripped apart on cross-examination. Or, you were so great, we're going to put you up. That's a decision. They have that cocoon to figure it out, and we can't second-guess that.
Yeah, you're so right. Assessing a client, right? That's a tough thing that you lawyers have to do in private practice and make that decision, because if you have someone who you think, as you said, is going to be effective, it may be great. She may tip the scales in her favor, but if she's bad up there, ooh, get closer to a conviction maybe. Joe Tamburino, what do you think about the beauty queen? Do you think she could have possibly helped herself?
Yes, I think she could have helped herself. I mean, she's a beauty queen. She goes to pageants. She interacts with people. We have to assume she's a very social person. She's babysat other people's kids. I don't see why she didn't take the stand. Yes, of course, it's always a judgment call. You sit with your client. But even if she were to be an average witness on the stand, say a B minus C plus witness, that's better than a D or an F witness, and this is her only shot. She's got to explain those words. I think it was a mistake for her not to take the stand.
Joe, thank you for that. Randy, I want to ask you about something important here when it comes to her owning the bad messages, and I'm sure you deal with this, especially in your family law practice. You know, you represent lots of high-profile clients, and in divorces, I mean, people, I can't imagine the things that are said, you know, in the walls of your office. Like, you know, and just a statement and a statement alone isn't enough, is it?
No, but sometimes, I mean, we have all sorts of phrases and cliches, you know, defang the tiger, take the wind out of their sails, get ahead of it, right? You want to own it. Unfortunately, you know, the state goes first, and so the defense can't start off and say, before we get started, she's going to admit she said these things. In opening, he could have, but yeah, if you can get out in front of it and say, let me explain away the worst thing they have to say about me, it does help. You know, on the other hand, the lawyer can sort of do that in closing anyway. You know, we've all said bad things. Just because you say, I hate this child, doesn't mean, anybody ever think there's a child bad enough that you might hate that child? Sure, but does that mean you're going to take the next step? Maybe the lawyer can do it for the client. It would have been better if she could have done it effectively.
Right, Randy, exactly. Joe, tell me, do you think they missed the mark in not having a medical expert independent of somebody from that coroner's office?
Well, we don't know if they checked that out and decided not to proceed. That happens sometimes, you know. I mean, the defense, as a defense, as opposed to a prosecutor who has, you know, you have to have exculpatory evidence, Brady material disclosed. As the defense side, sometimes you might talk to a medical expert, and the medical expert says, hey, prosecutor's got it right. I agree with them. Well, you don't call that witness. You know, that goes nowhere, basically. So we don't know if they decided to check out the medical evidence, you know, on their own, and it didn't turn out well. But also, I mean, I wanted to bring up one thing, going back to sometimes you say, you know, terrible things and you don't mean it. I think of back to the Johnny Depp trial. Remember how many bad things were said? I mean, you know, I want to rip off Amber Heard's head. And, you know, Johnny Depp wasn't going to kill her or anything like that. So, I mean, yeah, people say some crazy things, but it doesn't mean that they are murderers.
That is a perfect example, perfect point to end on, Joe. Thank you. You're right. Yeah, I mean, there's some wild things that are said sometimes. And that trial, you can go back and watch it in our Court TV archives. It's there. What a landmark case that was. Great discussion with you both. Joe, you're coming along with us for Court TV Live. Randy Kessler, you got cases to win. We got to let you get off to court.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being in the studio today.